TV Crazy Man here. Today we look at Goofs, Bloopers, and trivia facts from the hilarious classic TV series McHale's Navy. Find goofs that you might have missed all these years, laugh, and find out what interesting things the cast did after the show was over. Plus, what I honestly consider is the best musical outtake of all time. Let's look at Goofs from McHale's Navy, starting with the 1964 color film that came out in theaters at the end of the show's second season on television.
I'm really gonna surprise him this time.
Captain Binghamton, played by Joe Flynn, is flying over McHale's Navy, hoping to take some pictures of McHale's crew gambling or doing something wrong he can nab them on. Now the first thing you notice is that the stock footage of the plane has glass in the window frames, but not on a close-up studio shot of the plane. Then Ensign Parker, played by Tim Conway, shoots him down, thinking it's an enemy plane. The plane that comes down to the ground, though, in no way looks like the one that Binghamton was riding around in. Somehow he changed planes in the middle of getting shot down. From this to a dark blue plane with yellow wings.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Oh, good morning, Padre. Oh, Chaplain.
What are you mumbling, what?
Later, McHale and his crew are driving around when they run into old Leadbottom. But when we see Binghamton attached to the front of the car, he looks like he was scared ghost white, as he's lost all fleshly tones. In fact, I'd say he was scared stiff. You might even say he looks like a mannequin. I wonder if they forgot that this was going to be on a big movie screen.
I could just scream.
Another little interesting thing, this produce starts to fall a split second before the car even touches the stands. Now in the 1964 movie, it looks like there's a lot of blue screen technology that isn't quite working all the time. Check out the number 73. You can see the water is moving inside of it. Here Willy's arm is fading out, almost like he's a ghost.
It was just terrible. I'll never get over it as long as I live.
Oops, wrong movie. But Don Knotts did appear on an episode of McHale's Navy, but I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. In the 1964 movie, there were a couple of scenes where the horse was fake. This one isn't too bad. It's noticeable that the horse is pretty stiff, except for his tail. But the really bad fake horse comes when Fuji is racing. Now that's a fake horse. The way the horse's nose is shining, it appears to be made out of plastic.
Cut that out.
The second movie in 1965, McHale's Navy joins the Air Force. Ernest Borgnine doesn't appear. He may have been busy filming the movie The Flight of the Phoenix at that time.
Including your heads. Including your heads of Charlie.
In the second McHale's Navy film, there's a scene where Binghamton and Parker are in a Jeep that's dangling from an airplane. It's hilarious to be sure, but if you look close, you can see wires pulling on the Jeep to make it sway back and forth. Now you can also notice the occasional use of toy models in this scene. The wire attached to the back of the toy model Jeep used to make the Jeep sway back and forth is pretty easy to spot here. Now you see some mountains in the background, and now you don't. You know, a whole shoreline is a pretty big thing to misplace. And check out McHale's weird shadow in the background. Did you ever notice how it sometimes sounds kind of echoey on the 73? As if they were filming in a very enclosed place, instead of out to sea.
Binghamton's uniform. Secure from battle stations and well done.
The acoustics must have been great though, which leads me to one of my favorite classic TV outtakes of all time, featuring the crew from McHale's Navy singing.
Mow, mow, hooma, hooma, mow, 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 hoom, mow, mow, hooma, hooma, mow, mow, hoom, mow, mow, hooma, hooma, mow.
When I love you, baby, baby, please don't go. Yeah, I love you, baby, baby, please don't go. Yeah, I love you, baby, oh yeah, I love you, baby.
McHale's Paradox.
Now, if you've seen bloopers from the Carol Burnett show, you know that Tim Conway had a way of making his fellow actors laugh. And here's an instance where Joe Flynn is caught laughing, and it still made it to the final cut. Those guys must have had a ball, and to think they got paid for it.
We're gathered here to put these two together. And some other stuff. Good.
On a special Christmas episode, the day they captured Santa Claus, Parker throws a snowball that somehow manages to hit old Leadbottom on top of the head. Being a Christmas episode, that snowball must have had a little magic in it, because it's there in one shot, and then Binghamton's hat is completely snow-free. You might think it just melted, but then it's back again. It falls off his hat, even though it was totally gone before, and now Leadbottom's hat is snow-free and completely dry once more. And then it's not.
What's this all about? What?
Magic Christmas snow is all I can say. Also in this episode, keep your eye on Tinker's parachute as he jumps out of the plane. You can see the edge of Tinker's parachute, even after he's jumped. It's almost like he has something to stand on outside. And then there's those shadows in the sky outside the door of the plane.
You want to know something funny? Get on the line.
Now here's an indication of a hiccup in the Matrix, or perhaps some kind of weird time loop, as Binghamton says hello to the young lady twice. Binghamton nodding hello here. And one more time. This time McHale's a little closer than he was in the last shot. You know, I'm pretty sure that Joe Flynn had a full head of hair, but in the episode The Binghamton Murder Plot, when he jumps into the water, it looks like he suddenly got a bald spot. Maybe he was wearing his hat too much, you know. In this scene, Joe Flynn flubs his line twice, calling the Admiral Colonel.
Colonel, before you start pressing any charges, Colonel, I want you to know I had nothing to do with this.
I think they were morally opposed to doing reshoots back then, just to save money.
Colonel, before you start pressing any charges, Colonel, I want you to know I had nothing to do with this.
Another weird time anomaly happens when Parker and Tinker change positions instantaneously while Fuji is in mid-sentence.
I'm agony, got a horrible toothache.
Is this McHale's Navy or the Twilight Zone? On this episode, we see McHale's boat pulling in the dock, and then they switch shots and it looks like they're at sea. It makes you wonder if they had any more backgrounds for those in-studio shots they used a lot. Look, I bet that's a fan they used to make the flag appear to blow in the wind. You know, sometimes it's just the little things, like in one shot, Leadbottom's head is facing toward the Jeep, and then suddenly his head is completely the opposite direction. One thing this shot proved, and that's Tim Conway was probably not as good at his Tarzan impersonation as his future castmate Carol Burnett. Because that is so not Tim Conway. I mean, that dude looks like, well, he looks kind of scary in comparison. He definitely looks like he works out, and well, Conway, maybe not so much.
Look, fellas, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
In the episode, the late Captain Binghamton. Tinker refers to Leadbottom as the creature from the Black Lagoon.
The creature from the lagoon.
Hold it.
Banzai!
And then in the episode, The Vampire of Taratupa, Fuji dresses up like the creature from the Black Lagoon. The only problem is the series takes place in World War II, and the creature didn't pop up in movies until 1954. And now let's take a look at the awesome cast and characters of McHale's Navy. Tim Conway played Ensign Parker, of course. Parker had a lot in common with Barney Fife, actually.
Get the safety on.
Get set!
It's no wonder that Conway would one day do a bunch of movies together with Don Knotts.
You ever try sucking a thumb without your baby blanket? It's a big nothing.
I know.
Of course, Conway was a regular on the Carol Burnett show in his 70s.
I lost the girlfriend to the Sharks, you know that? She'd have made it if she hadn't been wearing her lucky hair.
I learned something new today, actually. Ernest Borgnine and Tim Conway teamed up once more in later years as a superhero duo on a few episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Mermaid Man! And Barbacle.
Stop shouting out napping! It's not me, old cool.
Joe Flynn played Captain Binghamton, aka Old Leadbottom, whose goal in life was to catch McHale and his crew doing something he could have them court-martialed for. He had more falls and accidents than Tim Conway's character Ensign Parker.
I could just scream. Hang on here. What? I could just scream.
Joe Flynn appeared in a lot of fun movies too, including the Kurt Russell films The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, Now You See Him, Now You Don't, and The Strongest Man in the World. He also appeared on the Don Knotts movie How to Frame a Fig and co-starred on the 1970 Tim Conway show, just to name a few. Apparently Tim Conway's show with Joe Flynn didn't last very long, only 12 episodes. Later that same year, Conway came out with a variety show that also didn't make it a whole season. Sadly, in 1974, Flynn passed away from a heart attack while swimming in his pool alone. He was only 49 years old. Captain Binghamton's right-hand man was Lieutenant Elroy Carpenter, played by Bob Hastings. Now, Carpenter was a real suck-up.
The whole world should know of the wonderful job you're doing here, sir.
You are my aide, and you are not supposed to think. Kind of numbskull, you. Take a memo, you nitwit.
Hastings was on way too many shows to mention them all, but just to name a few, he did voice work for the Super Friends, Yogi Space Race, and did you know he was the voice of Commissioner Gordon on the 90s Batman animated series? He was also on 200 episodes of the soap opera General Hospital. Ernest Borgnine, who played Quentin McHale, was of course the star of McHale's Navy. McHale was in charge of a crew of misfits that just wanted to have a little fun while winning the war. I mean, who can blame them?
McHale, this is one time your saltwater tramps are not going to get away with this. And the whole thing is your idea.
Oh, no!
Borgnine himself actually joined the Navy in 1935. He served during World War II. After 10 years in the Navy, his mother suggested he take a chance on acting. Of course, his dad wasn't too happy about that. According to Wikipedia, Borgnine's first TV appearance was on Captain Video and his Video Rangers. You know, Ed Norton's favorite TV show? IMDb says he was on that show for 12 episodes.
Up with Captain Video and his Video Rangers.
Borgnine was in a lot of classic movies like The Dirty Dozen, The Poseidon Adventure, The Black Hole, Escape from New York, The Wild Bunch, and many, many more. He did a huge amount of guest appearances on shows like Love Boat, Magnum P.I., Highway to Heaven, Walker, Texas Ranger, Home Improvement, Touched by an Angel, and so many more. His credits are long indeed. They're just too many to list in one video. He also played on the huge TV miniseries Jesus of Nazareth in 1977. A lot of us 80s kids remember him from his co-starring role on Airwolf. In 1996, he toured the country in a bus to meet and greet his many fans. He lived a long life, passing away at the age of 95 in 2012. Carl Ballantine played Lester Gruber, a man who liked to gamble a lot.
Love is a game and marriage is a gamble.
Before McHale's Navy, he was a magician. After the show, he was another actor from the show to appear in Don Knotts' movie, The Shakiest Gun in the West. He also showed up on classic TV series like The Monkees, I Dream of Jeannie, and Car 54, Where Are You? Tinker was played by Billy Sands, who, before McHale's Navy, played a very similar role on the Phil Silvers Show as Private Dino Paparelli. Then there was Gary Vinson, who played George Christopher. He passed away in 1984 at the age of 47. Gavin Macleod played Happy. I guess it was kind of fitting that he would one day be captain of his own ship, the Love Boat. Edson Stroll played Virgil Edwards. In real life, he was into bodybuilding before McHale's Navy. You might also recognize him from the Twilight Zone episode Eye of the Beholder.
Banzai!
Yoshio Yoda played Fuji, one of the happiest prisoners of war you ever saw.
So, hello, Captain Sam.
What'd he say?
Apparently, McHale didn't have the heart to turn Fuji in after they captured him, so he stayed there with them, helping them to combat the evil devices of Captain Binghamton.
I gotta go now. Have cake in the oven.
Yoda was born in Japan, but went on to become a United States citizen. He worked as vice president for Toyota at one point, living in Hawaii and California toward the end. Which leaves us with the last living regular from McHale's Navy, actor John Wright, who played Willie Moss. Wright is currently 82 years old. After the show, he went after a musical career where he charted 21 singles on the country charts, going by the name Bobby Wright. His highest charting single was Here I Go Again in 1971. Well, please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you if you have. Comment and talk about your memories of McHale's Navy and the great actors that played on the show. Also, if you don't care, hit the like, as all those things helps the video and the channel. I appreciate it, and thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Bye-bye, men. Bye!